Hey guys, before we get into the video, I did want to mention that I filmed this video before Jeffree Star released his new cremated palette, so I am going to do a review on that later on once I order it and get it. I do also want to mention that I'm doing a fundraiser on my Facebook. I'm raising money for the One Pulse Foundation, and we're almost halfway to my goal. We have about $75 in on a $200 goal. So my birthday is this coming Sunday, and the fundraiser should be going through the end of the month. So if you would like to donate anything to that, be it $1, $5, $10, whatever that you can donate, I will leave the link to that down below. Now let's get on with the video. Hey guys, my name is Glass Caedmon and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be going through 5 Smokey eyeshadow palettes and comparing them a little bit and seeing which one is the best. So over the past few weeks, I've been testing out these 5 palettes. They've been on the market for a while. Some of them are still available, some of them are not. But they're ones that I've seen all over YouTube, all over Instagram, and I wanted to try them out, get different looks out of them, and see which one of these is the ultimate Smokey eyeshadow palette. I've done 5 different looks with each of these 5 palettes, and I have some notes to go over for each one. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will list everything that I'm wearing on my face in the description box below. So up first, we have the Smashbox Punk Cover Shot palettes, $29. This one I did a little bit more of a subtle look for, and I did that because there are limited shades in this palette. So this palette has 8 shades, if you can see here, and they're not very smoky, which, looking at the palette originally when I had first bought it, I thought it was going to be a lot smokier than it actually is. But as you can see from the photo, when it actually comes to practice of creating an eyeshadow look, the colors just are not dark enough or cool enough to make like a classic smoky eye. So what I did here was more of like a hazy purple smoky eye, but all in all, I feel like it's definitely more of a grungy palette than a smoky eye palette. It was really difficult and all in all impossible to get an actual smoky eye look from this palette. But I do like how it looks. I do enjoy the looks that I get from this. I just wouldn't necessarily say that it's a smoky eyeshadow palette. Next up, we have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. This was $45. It is discontinued. For this palette, I did more of a classic smoky eye with a pop of coral toward the inner corner. Now the nice thing about this palette is that there are a lot of shimmers. So almost all of the shades in here, I think 8 or 9 out of all of the shades are shimmers. So you have a lot of variety as far as how you want to play up the lid shade. But the downside is that the matte shades, they don't read very smoky. So really the only shades in here that reverberate to me about a smoky eyeshadow palette would be Slate and Noir, and then Cyborg for like the shimmer shade all over the lid. All the other ones are either warm or more neutral to where they would look great all over the lid, but it doesn't invoke a smoky eye look. Another issue that I had with this one is that the mattes tend to blend away really easily. So as far as building them up in the crease or even the coral shade on the inner corner, it was rather difficult to actually get it to that intensity because buffing it out really just kind of removes most of the color that's there. So that was a downside as well. But again, the shimmer shades for the lid are all really, really nice. Unfortunately, this is discontinued. It was limited edition for holiday. So if you didn't get your hands on it, you're going to be missing out. But out of the palettes that I'm talking about today, even though this is discontinued, I don't think that it's the best if you are looking for a smoky eyeshadow palette. Next up here, we have the Colorpop Smoke Show palette. This has actually been renamed to Blow and Smoke. This is $12, and for this one I did a drag-inspired kind of exaggerated cat eye. I actually really like how the look turned out, but it was really difficult to get it there. So I liked the look, but it was definitely more dramatic than I would normally go for, than most people would normally go for. The shades blended really nicely. If you could see in the crease, blending the darker grays with the lighter grays to the black, that worked really nicely. It just took a little while to build it to that like blended intensity, but they meshed together really well. It wasn't patchy or jagged or anything like that. As far as the shades go in this palette, I feel like this one looks more like a smoky palette that people would expect. The only thing is that the shade up here, Night Drama, is a shimmery black. I could have definitely done without that and had more of like a shimmery white highlight shade. But aside from that, the other shades in here are really, really solid. I think I used most of these, if not all of these, in this look. The mattes blended out really nicely. The shimmers are really nice. I actually really like this palette. It's a cheaper option and it's a smaller palette, so it could be portable if you needed it to. You do just have to be careful because the pans in here are magnetic, so if you bump it the wrong way, they'll fall out. Up next, we have the Morphe 9i So Iconic palette. For this palette, I did kind of like a teardrop shape with a pop of blue. I gotta say this one, this is $12, but this one is my least favorite out of any of the ones that I used for this challenge. So looking at the shades in here, I taped over the blue and the cream shade because the cream shows up very, very dark once you actually put it on, and the blue was so difficult to work with. I wet my brush with it, I used it dry as well. It didn't have that color intensity payoff that I was expecting a really nice blue to have. And overall it was just really difficult to work with, so I actually taped those two down because they were some of the worst shades that I've tried from any palette. Sorry, the AC is kicking on. As far as the rest of the shades go in this palette, they worked out nicely, but again, kind of like the issue was with the Smashbox palette, it doesn't read super smoky. Really just the row here with the black, the gray, and the silver, that's what reads smoky to me out of this palette. The browns that are in here lean more to like a neutral to warm brown, so I don't think that that is exactly fitting for a smoky eye look. And overall, I mean, I'm very hit or miss when it comes to Morphe products. I feel like sometimes they're good. None of them have been like amazing, stellar. I really don't get all the hype on that one. But for the price, I think most of the time they perform decently, but this one is just very in between. As far as comparing it to anything else that I used in this challenge, this one was my least favorite. It was the hardest to work with. It could work better if you pair it with another palette that has more of those cool shades to it, so that way you can pair them with that row here. But as a standalone palette, it's a no-go. I do not recommend this one. And for the last palette, this is gonna be my #1 and also probably my favorite look that I did out of any of these. So here we have the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette. This was $54, unfortunately it is discontinued. But for this palette, I did a halo eye with teardrops. I really love how the look turned out, and I really like how this palette performed. So one nice thing about this palette is the variety of shades that are in here. There's a lot to work with. You have a lot of the lighter shades for transition, you have some of the deepening shades, and then you have a variety of lid shades, and you even have a couple like highlight shades for the brow bone. They blended in pretty easily. They were pretty easy to work with. This one is, I mean, it's that Urban Decay formula. It's that, you know, traditional, blendable, buttery, dependable formula. I really haven't had a problem with any of the Urban Decay Naked palettes as far as not working out well and not performing well. And this one, honestly, I had it when it was brand new. I had bought one when it was brand new, and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't know how to use it. I thought it was a terrible palette. And, you know, over the next 5 years, I bought this one again last year when it had come back into Ulta and it was half off. But over that time, I've learned how to do makeup a little bit better and how to work with shades a little bit more. So I've gained a better appreciation for this one. Now I don't do smoky eyes a ton, so I probably won't reach for this one very often, and unfortunately it is discontinued and not available anymore. But I hope that one day Urban Decay comes out with kind of a revamped version of the smoky palette. They've been known to do that, especially as you've seen with the Naked Reloaded as a redo of the original Naked palette. I hope they do something like that with smoky as well. Because it's a really solid palette. It was really nice and I'm glad that I have it. I would also like to point out that on my eyes today, I chose my 2 least favorite palettes from this challenge, so the Morphe 9i and the Smashbox Punk Cover Shot palette, in order to do this eye look today. And like I thought, when you pair them together with another palette and get that other variety that you're lacking in the individual palettes, it turns out a lot better. I like this look. The wing is a little dramatic for me, but I was, you know, trying something different. but I think paired together, they worked actually really well, and I like how the look turned out. I just don't think that these are standalone palettes that can really do very much on their own. You definitely have to have a companion for it in order to get an achievable look. So in conclusion, the winner is Urban Decay Naked Smokey. Like I said, I really hope they come out with another version of this sometime soon. I haven't seen a ton of smoky eye palettes on the market, but they've had a little bit of a resurgence lately. The Morphe one and the Colorpop one both came out last year, and my finger might not be on the pulse of it. If you have a really good smoky eyeshadow palette that you know about that I didn't mention here, let me know, and maybe I'll check it out and do a part 2 of this one day. Who knows? But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of it. Hope you guys have a great day, and remember that you are clearly beautiful.